In this video, we are looking to create passive income with high-yield dividend stocks with excellent growth. Studies have shown that dividend stocks with the highest future returns are the ones that are rated better on both ranking and style scores. Stocks with solid growth scores should outperform other income-producing stocks. Those with strong value style scores should do well, as research shows a correlation between dividends and value. And a good momentum style score can be helpful, as nobody wants to buy a stock just before it goes down. In this video, we're going to look at 3 top prospects this week. We'll go through the numbers, and after the video, let me know your thoughts. Do any of these seem appealing for your portfolio, or would you take a pass? Let me know in the comments. Let's get started. Number 3, DCP Midstream Partners, ticker DCP. DCP Midstream LP gathers, compresses, treats, processing, transports, stores, and sells natural gas. Looking at Zacks research, they rank it a number 1 strong buy, with an overall VGM score of A. When looking at the daily chart, we can see that the company's stock price has been steadily increasing. It is up over 60% in the last 12 months. Tip rank stock analysis score Midstream a 9, outperform, based on 3 Wall Street analysts, offering 12-month price targets for DCP Midstream Partners in the last 3 months. The average price target is $43, with a high forecast of $45 and a low forecast of $39. The average price target represents an 8.86% change from the last price of $39.50. DCP Midstream's market cap is currently $8.23 billion. The company's earnings per share trailing 12 months is $5.02. Its PE ratio is 7.87. And it has a dividend yield of 4.15%. They are scheduled to report earnings on February 7, 2023, and the estimated EPS forecast is $1.04. Last quarter, Q3 2022, their total revenue was $4.32 billion, an increase of 52.78% from the previous quarter. In Q3, their net income was $312 million. DCP's total assets for Q3 2022 were $13.88 billion, a decrease of -1.29% from the previous quarter. Their total liabilities were $7.5 billion for the fiscal quarter, a -5.28% drop from the prior quarter. And their free cash flow for Q3 2022 was $633 million. For the 2022 fiscal year, DCP's free cash flow was decreased by -$401 million, and operating cash flow was $701 million. Midstream has a dividend yield of 4.15%, with a payout ratio of 32.56%. DCP's past year's earnings per share were $5.02, and its annual dividend per share is $1.64. With a payout ratio of 32.56%, they have sufficient earnings to cover their dividend. We are now looking at the dividend calculator, with a share price of $39.50, buying 100 shares with a total investment amount of $3,950, holding for 10 years, and reinvesting the dividends in the DRIP strategy. We can see that we have an ending balance of $5,969.58, a total return of 51.15%, and an annual dividend of $241.50. In the last 30 days, those between 35 and 55 have increased their holdings by almost 12%. No trend has been detected based on the 13F filings of 466 hedge funds submitted to the SEC. DCP blogger sentiment is based on 8 blogger opinions. The blogger sentiment is more bullish than other stocks in the industrial goods sector. Public companies must disclose risks affecting the business and the stock. These disclosures are known as risk factors. DCP Midstream Partners disclosed 85 risk factors in its most recent earnings report. They reported the most risks in the finance and corporate category. Number 2, BlackRock TCP Capital, ticker TCPC. BlackRock Capital is an externally managed, closed-end, non-diversified management investment company. Zacks research ranks it a 2 buy with an overall VGM score of A. The daily chart shows we are down roughly 1% over the last 12 months. Tip rank scores BlackRock with a 7, neutral, based on 2 Wall Street analysts offering 12-month price targets for BlackRock TCP Capital in the last 3 months. The average price target is $13.25, with a high forecast of $14.50 and a low forecast of $12. The average price target represents a 3.60% change from the last price of $12.79. BlackRock's market cap is currently $750.97 million. The company's earnings per share trailing 12 months is $1.23. Its PE ratio is 10.56, and it has a dividend yield of 9.23%. They are scheduled to report earnings on February 27, 2023, and the estimated EPS forecast is 39 cents. Last quarter, Q3 2022, Their total revenue was $28.08 million, an increase of 47.07% from the previous quarter. In Q3, BlackRock's net income was $26.24 million. Their total assets for Q3 2022 were $1.81 billion, a decrease of -3.25% from the previous quarter. BlackRock's total liabilities were $995.81 million for the fiscal quarter, a -6.54% decrease from the last quarter. BlackRock's free cash flow for Q3 2022 was $132.21 million. For the 2022 fiscal year, their free cash flow decreased by -$204.93 million, and operating cash flow was $132.21 million. BlackRock has a competitive dividend yield of 9.23%, with a payout ratio of 83.33%. Their past year's earnings per share were $1.23, and their annual dividend per share is $1.22. With a payout ratio of 83.33%, their dividend is sustainable. We are now looking at the dividend calculator, with a share price of $12.79, buying 310 shares with a total investment amount of $3,964.90, holding for 10 years, and reinvesting the dividends in the DRIP strategy. We can see that we have an ending balance of $9,874.86, a total return of 149%, and an annual dividend of $861.20. In the last 30 days, those over 55 have increased their holdings by 10%. Hedge funds also increased holdings by 9.1 thousand shares last quarter. BlackRock Capital disclosed 66 risk factors in its most recent earnings report. They reported the most risks in the finance and corporate category. Number 1, LADR Capital, ticker LADR. LADR Capital Corporation is a holding company that engages in the provision of commercial real estate finance services. Zacks Research ranks them a 2 buy, with an overall VGM score of C. Looking at the daily chart, LADR Capital is down roughly 1%. TipRank scores LADR Capital with an 8, outperforming. Based on 4 Wall Street analysts offering 12-month price targets for LADR Capital in the last 3 months, the average price target is $12.63, with a high forecast of $13.50 and a low forecast of $11. The average price target represents a 17.93% change from the last price of $10.71. LADR Capital's market cap is currently $1.39 billion. The company's earnings per share trailing 12 months is 87 cents. Its PE ratio is 12.46, and it has a dividend yield of 7.76%. LADR Capital is scheduled to report earnings on February 21, 2023, and the estimated EPS forecast is 28 cents. Last quarter, Q3 2022, LADR Capital's total revenue was $69.27 million, an increase of 50.77% from the previous quarter. In Q3, LADR Capital's net income was $28.58 million. Their total assets for Q3 2022 were $5.87 billion, an increase of 0.46% from the previous quarter. LADR's total liabilities were $4.37 billion for the fiscal quarter, a 0.76% decrease from the last quarter, and their free cash flow for Q3 2022 was $38.27 million. For the 2022 fiscal year, LADR's free cash flow decreased by -$32.20 million, and operating cash flow was $38.27 million. They currently have a dividend yield of 7.76% with a payout ratio of 79.35%, which is sustainable. Now, looking at the dividend calculator, with a share price of $10.71, buying 370 shares with a total investment amount of $3,962.70, holding for 10 years, and reinvesting the dividends in the DRIP strategy. We can see that we have an ending balance of $8,547.94, a total return of 115%, and an annual dividend of $632.51 off of a one-time investment. In the last 30 days, those over 55 have increased their holdings by over 20%. Hedge funds decreased holdings by 1.1 million shares last quarter. LADR's blogger sentiment is based on 4 blogger opinions. The blogger sentiment is more bullish than other stocks in the financial sector. LADR Capital disclosed 83 risk factors in its most recent earnings report. They reported the most risks in the finance and corporate category. Bottom line, dividends can be a great way to boost your investment portfolio's passive income. Buying these stocks with a one-time investment can pay off hugely within the near future. Please let me know your thoughts about these 3 high-yield dividend stocks. Too high risk? Perfect for high returns? Let me know in the comments. If you made it to the end of the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Peace.